Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an Infantry Officer. Russian armed forces continued offensive operations across all major axes on February 19, 2026, with tactical improvements in the north and positional gains in the center and east. The past 24 hours have been characterized by sustained ground pressure, methodical artillery engagement, and an intensified campaign of deep strikes against Ukrainian logistics and energy infrastructure. The highest concentration of reported Ukrainian casualties occurred in the Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia sectors. Russian forces struck targets in 156 districts, marking an increase from the previous day's 141. The deliberate targeting of fuel depots and energy infrastructure confirms a strategic campaign to degrade Ukraine's logistical sustainment and industrial base. This widening of the deep battle imposes cumulative pressure on Ukrainian supply chains and complicates force generation.
Colonel, let's begin in the north. Today's briefing uses a slightly different formulation for the North Force Group. It says they have taken up more advantageous positions and lines, rather than reporting a specific territorial gain like the capture of Kharkivka we saw yesterday. What does this shift in language tell us about what's happening in Sumy and Kharkiv oblasts?
That's an excellent observation, and the language is indeed deliberate. Think of it as the difference between a punch and the follow-through. The punch was the seizure of territory. The follow-through is now about making that territory useful. They are advancing their lines forward to dominate more ground with their direct fire weapons, to deny the Ukrainians observation posts they previously held, and to secure their own flanks against counterattack. The range of settlements mentioned in the contact report, Pyzarevka, Bereza, Mykolivka, and Sumy, and 6 locations in Kharkiv, tells us that while the lines may be moving incrementally, the fighting is widespread. They are engaging 2 mechanized brigades and 2 territorial defense brigades in Sumy alone. This is not a quiet sector. It is a sector where Russian forces are systematically pushing forward to create a more defensible and operationally useful battle space.
The reported Ukrainian losses in this sector include 2 electronic warfare stations, and notably, a counter-battery radar station. Why is that significant?
That is a high-value kill. A counter-battery radar is one of the most prized assets on any modern battlefield. Its job is to detect incoming artillery shells, track their trajectory back to the source, and instantly calculate the firing position of the enemy gun or rocket launcher. This allows the owning force to return fire with devastating accuracy, often within seconds or minutes. By destroying that radar, Russian forces have done 2 things. First, they have blinded Ukrainian artillery in that sector. Without that radar, Ukrainian gunners are forced to rely on less accurate methods, like sound ranging or visual observation, which are slower and less precise. This gives Russian artillery a temporary advantage in the counter-battery duel. Second, they have protected their own guns. Every Russian artillery piece in that sector can now fire with a lower probability of immediate retaliatory fire. It's a significant tactical win that ripples across the entire local battlefield.
Moving to the West Force Group, the briefing reports improved tactical positions and losses inflicted on 2 mechanized brigades, an airmobile brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades. This seems like a continuation of the pressure we discussed yesterday. Is there anything new to note here?
The consistency is the story. The West Group is performing a critical operational function, fixing Ukrainian forces in place. By maintaining constant pressure on these brigades, engaging them, forcing them to react, depleting their ammunition and their manpower, they prevent the Ukrainian command from pulling these units out of the line and rushing them to a more critical sector like Donetsk. The loss of a tank and an armored combat vehicle, while not massive numbers, represents a steady erosion of Ukrainian heavy equipment. Tanks are not just weapons, they are mobile protected firepower. Losing them, even 1 or 2 a day, adds up over time. When you combine that with 17 other vehicles destroyed, you are looking at a degradation of the logistics and transport capability of these brigades. They become less able to move supplies, less able to reposition troops, and less able to conduct their own local counterattacks.
In the Donetsk sector, we have reports from both the Southern and Center Force Groups. The Southern Group reports over 115 Ukrainian personnel lost, along with an ammunition depot and 4 supply depots. The Center Group reports up to 350 personnel lost, engaging a diverse mix of Ukrainian units, including airborne assault, Marine, and National Guard. What is the significance of targeting supply depots so aggressively in this sector?
The targeting of ammunition and supply depots in the Donetsk sector is a direct attack on the Ukrainian military's ability to sustain high-intensity combat. This is where the front is hottest, where artillery duels are most intense, and where ammunition consumption rates are highest. When Russian forces destroy an ammunition depot near the front lines, they are not just destroying a building full of shells, they are creating an immediate crisis for the Ukrainian units in that sector. Without a steady supply of 152mm and 155mm artillery rounds, Ukrainian guns fall silent. Without mortar bombs, their infantry loses its organic fire support. Without small arms ammunition, their riflemen cannot hold their trenches. The destruction of 4 supply depots in the southern sector on a single day is a major logistical blow. It means that for a period of time, perhaps 24 to 72 hours, Ukrainian units in that area will be operating on a shoestring.
And the center group's engagement of such a wide array of Ukrainian units, what does that tell us about the state of the Ukrainian defensive lines there?
It tells me the Ukrainian lines in that sector are under extreme stress. When a defender is forced to commit airborne assault brigades, Marines, and National Guard units to the same sector, it often means the first-line mechanized units have been attrited or rotated out. They are patching the line with whatever is available. This creates a problem of interoperability. An airborne brigade is trained for rapid, light maneuver, often operating behind enemy lines. A Marine brigade is trained for amphibious assaults. A National Guard brigade is trained for internal security and rear area protection. Throwing them together in a desperate defensive battle on the plains of Donetsk is a recipe for command and control friction. They have different radios, different tactical doctrines, and different levels of experience in large-scale combined arms warfare.
The East Force Group reports they continued to advance deep into the enemy's defenses and inflicted up to 375 Ukrainian casualties. They also report destroying a Czech-made Vampire MLRS launcher. We're seeing settlements in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast mentioned again, Oleksandrivka and Pokrovsko. How significant is the continued mention of Dnipropetrovsk settlements?
Operationally, it is very significant. Dnipropetrovsk Oblast is the administrative and logistical heart of Ukrainian defenses in the east. The city of Dnipro is a major rail and road hub through which flows the vast majority of supplies, reinforcements, and equipment heading to the Donetsk front. When Russian forces are able to conduct operations that bring fighting into Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, even just its eastern fringes, they are achieving 2 things. First, they are disrupting the sense of security in the rear area. Second, they are putting critical logistics nodes within range of their longer-range artillery and rocket systems. If they can interdict the rail lines or highways around Pokrovsko or Oleksandrivka, they can slow the entire Ukrainian logistics pipeline to a crawl. The destruction of a Czech-made Vampire MLRS launcher is also noteworthy. The Vampire is a modern, mobile rocket system that Ukraine has received from its European partners.
The Dnipro Forces Group reports improved tactical positions and the destruction of a supply depot with relatively low Ukrainian personnel losses. Is this sector becoming a backwater, or does it still serve a purpose?
Never call any sector a backwater. In war, quiet sectors can become active sectors very quickly. The Dnipro Group's role is containment and attrition. They are engaging mechanized, mountain assault, and coastal defense brigades. That's a significant mix of units that would be very useful elsewhere. By applying steady, if low-intensity pressure, the Dnipro Group ensures these brigades cannot be pulled out of the line and sent to reinforce Donetsk or Zaporozhye. The destruction of a supply depot, even with only 20 personnel losses reported, means those brigades are being logistically degraded. They are losing their supplies, and they are pinned in place. It's a classic fixing operation, and it is essential to the success of the main efforts elsewhere.
Colonel, today's figures for the deep battle are striking. Russian forces struck targets in 156 districts, up from 141 yesterday. They destroyed a fuel depot, energy infrastructure, and temporary deployment points for Ukrainian forces and foreign mercenaries. And the air defense claim is massive. 301 UAVs shot down in a single day, along with 10 HIMARS rockets. Let's start with the deep strikes. What does the increase to 156 districts tell us?
It tells us the Russian General Staff has allocated significant resources to this campaign and is executing it with intensity. This is not a sporadic effort. It is a systematic, daily campaign to paralyze the Ukrainian state and its military. The targeting of a fuel depot and energy infrastructure is strategic warfare. Fuel is the lifeblood of a modern military. Without it, tanks stop, trucks stop, and aircraft stop. Energy infrastructure powers the factories that produce weapons, the railways that move supplies, and the cities that house the workforce. By attacking these, Russia is trying to win the war not just on the front lines, but in the factories and logistics hubs hundreds of kilometers behind them. The targeting of temporary deployment points for Ukrainian armed forces and foreign mercenaries is about force generation. Ukraine is constantly training new units and integrating foreign volunteers to replace losses.
And the air defense numbers: 301 UAVs. That is nearly double the 155 reported just 2 days ago. How do we interpret such a massive jump?
A jump of this magnitude suggests one of two things, or possibly a combination of both. The first possibility is that Ukraine launched a significantly larger number of UAVs on February 19th, perhaps attempting to overwhelm Russian air defenses in a coordinated effort. The second possibility is that Russian air defense forces achieved a higher detection and engagement rate, perhaps due to improved tactics, better radar coverage, or the deployment of additional systems. The reality is likely a mix of both. Ukraine is under immense pressure to strike deep into Russian-controlled territory and Russian logistics. They are constantly innovating with new drone types and tactics. In response, Russia is constantly adapting its air defense picture. The figure of 301, if accurate, paints a picture of a sky filled with drones and a very active, very dense air defense network working overtime to engage them.
Colonel Oguntoye, based on today's briefing, what are the key tactical and strategic implications for the days ahead?
The Vampire is a modern mobile rocket system that Ukraine has received from its European partners. It is capable of striking Russian positions with precision. Destroying it removes the threat, and as we discussed yesterday, sends a message to the donor nations about the durability of their equipment on this battlefield. And by striking these assembly areas before units are fully formed and deployed, Russia is attempting to disrupt Ukraine's ability to generate combat power. It's a way of killing the soldiers before they ever reach the front line.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that, crucially, the report also notes the interception of 10 HIMARS rockets. HIMARS remains a premier threat. The fact that Russia is consistently reporting interceptions of these rockets suggests their electronic warfare and air defense systems are becoming more effective at tracking and engaging these precision-guided munitions. This is a significant development, as HIMARS was once considered a nearly unstoppable game-changer.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.